My name is Noah Erenberg, and my quest to drive for free started in 2010. That's when Bruce Little and I produced a documentary about our search for cleaner, cheaper alternatives to petroleum.
Along the way, we met researchers making ethanol from garbage.
Well, this is where cutting edge is.
And farmers using canola to make biodiesel.
This is our finished product of biodiesel.
We even made our own biodiesel, but nothing proved economical.
Until we found people using filtered waste vegetable oil.
We've saved $30,000 over the last 4 years or so.
Some blend the waste veggie oil with diesel.
Others put it in a separate tank.
And just drive for free. How good is that?
It inspired me to buy a used diesel car that was already retrofitted with a second fuel tank for waste vegetable oil.
I'm driving for free.
The conversion keeps the veggie oil hot so I can drive it all year round, only needing to burn diesel when I start and stop the vehicle.
We found restaurants willing to give us their waste oil.
And we figured out the best way to filter it, which prompted us to buy a centrifuge.
We're out here in St. Andrews, where we have our centrifuge set up. We decided we were going to buy one of these because it's really the best way to clean our oil.
While I use waste veggie oil to power my modified Volkswagen all year round,
I blend the veggie with diesel in my 1985 Mercedes. With just one fuel tank in the Benz, there's no separate system to heat the veggie, which means I can't drive it in colder weather.
And then, when it gets to be too cold, we're going to have to put this car away.
my 150-kilometer daily commute has proved veggie oil really is the best way for me to drive, well, almost for free.
But for me, driving short distances in the city in my unmodified Benz is not the way to go. So our search continues to find a better way to drive for less and maybe even for free.
Not so many years ago, the automobile was considered a luxury. About the only time it received an airing was on Sunday or a holiday. Today, millions of buses, trucks, and cars travel the highways from coast to coast. The number of cars on our city streets offers proof that for millions of people, automotive transportation is almost as much a necessity as a house.
For centuries, human ingenuity has been making our lives easier. It led to one of the greatest inventions of all time, the internal combustion engine. And even though it changed the world, it had a serious flaw. It was extremely inefficient.
With automobile engines, the indication is that someday they will give us 300 miles to the gallon.
Of course, that was just a pipe dream. Most vehicles on the road today achieve less than 40 miles per gallon. And when that first car was built back in 1806, who could have imagined the consequences of this inefficiency?
It was announced today that gasless Sundays will go into effect as of next month.
This situation is destined to continue indefinitely. And by indefinitely, I mean not only just the next few years, but as far ahead as we can see.
Now, with over 1 billion cars on the road, finding a solution to this problem is even more critical. Over the years, it has motivated many to try and invent cleaner, more efficient engines. We've seen cars that run on hydrogen, compressed natural gas, alcohol, steam, and even water. Yet, for all these efforts, we still remain enslaved to the petroleum pump. In our search for alternatives, it seems an obvious solution was rolling through the streets of Winnipeg over a century ago. In the early 1900s, as cars were mass-produced and the first ones arrived in Winnipeg, the most popular engine in them wasn't gas or diesel or steam. Fast forward 100 years, and we find in our quest a small group of Manitobans who have rediscovered this age-old technology.
It's only about 2 cents a mile now as opposed to 15 to 20 cents a mile running on gas.
It cost me $40 to run for 6 months. I would put more than that in one tank.
And a lot of people say you have to plug it in. I get to plug it in.
Everything that the internal combustion engine did except waste energy, this does with electricity.
Since 2010, the Manitoba Electric Vehicle Association has brought together electric car enthusiasts for their annual MIVA Fest. One of the many reasons they drive electric cars is because Manitobans pay less for electricity than just about everybody else in North America. It motivated the Epstein family to purchase a Nissan Leaf.
And this is the primary car, so it takes us everywhere, the family.
When they bought the Leaf in 2011, it was the first factory-produced, fully electric car to be privately owned in Manitoba.
Exactly, it's a computer on wheels.
We heard a lot of people saying, no, we don't want to be the first to try it, like we don't want to be the guinea pigs. And we said, well, somebody has to.
In winter, it's probably about $7 every 10 days in electricity. And in summer, probably less because you're not using so much heating.
And this car in particular has a 160-kilometer range.
You know, it's like the same thing as your cell phone, right?
Right.
You use it, you plug it every night. In winter, probably it's a couple of hours of charging. In summer, it's probably an hour. It's on now, so you don't no broom.
The Epsteins paid $38,000 for their Nissan Leaf, but they say their long-term fuel savings will make it worthwhile. It's the same reason Ross Redmond dropped $40,000 to get one of the first Mitsubishi i-MiEVs sold in Canada.
I tallied up the kilowatts that I'd used from December until June, and it was about 612 kilowatts, which cost $40.80 for 5,095 kilometers. I plug it in every night. I plug it into the place where my old block heater used to go. It takes about a little more than 3.2 hours to fill up. At the current rate that I'm charging, it should last for something like 30,000 charges, which is like 80 years.
80 years? So much for the myth that these batteries don't last very long. Although spending $40,000 on a factory-produced e-car is costly, a less expensive alternative is to take a regular gas or diesel vehicle and convert it to electric.
Yes, this is a RAV4 that I bought and converted to an electric, all electric. It has better acceleration by far than the original. The original car had 148 horsepower, this is about 220. The cost of operating it is about 1/8 what it is to operate the gas vehicles. The car itself has no maintenance. I get home and I plug it in. I've driven it for 2.5 years now every day, and I can charge in about 3 hours to go 120 kilometers. People say, do you have to charge? You have to plug it in, and I think it's more convenient to charge. I never have to go to a gas station, and it's as simple as doing that. That's it. It's all automatic after you do that. This is what's going to save the planet.
This is a 1996 Mazda Miata that obviously had been gas at one point. They're all torque all the time, right from zero, so they accelerate very, very quickly. Clean, quiet, simple, reliable, long-lived. It has power steering and power brakes. The car's running right now, by the way.
These are 180 amp hour lithium iron phosphate batteries, 70 cells, all linked together in series for a 260 volt power pack. It's a lot of power, but it drives nice. You know, it's a heavy vehicle, and in four-wheel drive, you need some power.
Yeah. What would you estimate it cost you to convert the vehicle?
About $27,000 altogether.
$27,000, and that includes purchasing of the vehicle?
Yeah. The vehicle was cheap.
Yeah?
Yeah, $3,500 for the vehicle.
So conversions range from $18,000 to $27,000. Certainly less expensive than $38,000 to $40,000 for a factory-built EV. But could there be an even cheaper way to go?
It's a more budget kind of conversion. It's just made using conventional technology around lead-acid batteries. There's 8 12-volt batteries, which they're big batteries, so there's about 700 pounds of lead in this car. Just the conversion part was about $10,000. This will do about 50 kilometers. To, I guess, fully charge would take about 6 hours. And this is my backup power system here.
While the choice seems to be between pricey production cars and less expensive conversions, former MIVA Vice President Mike Lowen offers up another idea.
Like I paid half of what I'd pay up here for this, and it had 700 miles on it. It still had the plastic on the seats. It's got a really nice sound system. It's got a backup camera. It's got a phenomenal map navigation system.
Lowen traveled south of the border to buy his used 2011 Nissan Leaf from a U.S. dealer.
So this is they call this the opportunity charger. Plugs into 110. And then this is the other end is the standard J1772 that plugs into there. It's got a lock on it, so it just can't pop out by itself. You should go for a spin.
You should want to go for a ride?
You ought to go for a ride.
Sure, let's go.
Yeah.
Unlike Canadians, Americans get federal and state subsidies when they buy an electric vehicle, savings that are passed along when the car is resold.
Oh, it was half the price. I would never, I mean, I like the car a lot, but I wouldn't pay 44 grand plus taxes for it. I mean, that's just a little steep. Okay, Noah, you're up. Okay, give it a little goose.
That's the EV grin.
It's pure green electricity at 1/10 of what I'm paying for gas. But if you just want a car that you know you're only going to be driving 60, 70 miles a day max, pure electric is the way to go. What a no-brainer.
You're living in a very special time in the world's history, a time when other kinds of power help you to get to school or do the other things that need to be done.
In 2011, there were just 521 electric vehicles sold in Canada. By 2014, that number topped 9,000. But, believe it or not, 100 years ago, in 1912, there were more than 30,000 electric vehicles on the road in North America. For more than a century, vehicles powered by electricity have continued to be a proven technology that has produced cars like the 1908 Fritchley, which had a range equal to most electric cars built since. Today, the most significant innovations in car tech are coming from companies building EVs. On the cutting edge is Tesla Motors, the most successful startup company in the US in a century. It's why there's so much excitement at this MIVA meeting, where Manitobans are getting their first look at the new Tesla Model S.
This is their second generation car, and already it's vastly superior in every way to an internal combustion engine. Like, there's just no comparison.
Kyle Friesen was the first person in Manitoba to own the Model S. He dropped a big bucks to get this cutting-edge EV technology.
The price tag on the Signature is around 100,000. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's worth it. Electric vehicles have a huge advantage for travel now. The range is 480 kilometers. That's if you're going like 90 kilometers per hour. If you're going highway speeds, you're getting close to 420 kilometers. It shows that my trunk is open and that my door is open, both of them. So this is the front trunk. I'll leave that open if people want to rotate through. There's a windshield wiper fluid receptacle here. That's the only thing that I have to deal with as far as maintenance goes. If there's interest, I'll do a few rides in a little bit.
Is there any interest here?
Tesla mechanics do free service calls anywhere in North America to fix any problems.
Anybody behind me? Oh wait, I can do this. Camera. Here we go. Nobody's behind me. And we will slip a bit, but you can get a feel for the acceleration. And you can feel the traction control going on too.
Nice.
That's your Tesla grins that you're wearing.
Nice.
And it just has energy, so like I'm at 70, but just like boom. Whoa. It just wants to go, you know?
Yeah.
Push it down, and the Tesla just wants to go more.
How many kilowatts to fill it?
If you go completely empty, bone dry, you're probably using about 80 kilowatt hours. Well, 80, you multiply by 7 cents, so 80 times 7 is $5.
So $5.
Yeah. This vehicle in particular is the first time that you can go on road trips really without worry in an electric vehicle, and it's free to fill up. Like, that's phenomenal.
Tesla owners fill up for free at any one of a number of superchargers installed across North America. Just another perk of dropping the big bucks for a Tesla. Those driving other EVs take advantage of a growing network of mostly free charging stations popping up everywhere. And depending on the type of charger used, will determine how long it will take to fill up.
If you're filling up at a NEMA 1450, which is a 50 amp, you're looking at around 30 kilometers per hour. The J1772s would probably be about double that. The superchargers are really where it's at. Then you're charging 150 miles an hour. So I will be taking a trip to Florida sometime next winter. That's my plan. Because I want to drive for free all the way down to Florida. And then get away from this minus 40 garbage.
Sure, it would be great to buy a luxury sports car for $100 grand. But even a less expensive production vehicle is still pricey. Converting one would also be expensive and time-consuming. So in our search for something less costly, and in true Winnipeg bargain hunting fashion, we turn to the internet and discover online plenty of converted e-vehicles for sale across North America. Here's one, a 1986 GMC S15 that's been converted from gas to electric. It runs on 20 6-volt lead-acid batteries, a DC motor, and a motor controller. It even comes with a generator. The price is decent at $4,000, and it's only a few hours drive to the south in Minot, North Dakota. We get help towing it home from our friend Fernando.
So what we've got here is 5 batteries in the front, and there's 15 in the rear. This meter will register how much power is going into the pack. Behind the seat, here is our battery charger. Voltmeter, amp meter, and the 12-volt battery voltage. The solar panels are also charging the 12-volt system. So it's not bad for $4,000. Pretty good investment, I think.
The truck works well. It's virtually silent. It has lots of torque. The range is about 50 kilometers on a single charge, and it costs $1.50 to fill it up. Our first electric vehicle seems to be the closest we've ever come to driving for free. But after about a month, we discover something critical to its safe operation.
See this black spot right here?
We're having to check the battery connections all the time because vibrations from the vehicle loosen them.
So you have to really make sure that these connections are really good.
A loose connection can cause a dangerous arc flash.
This was underneath the battery that shorted.
That battery malfunction seems to have created another problem.
So after a few minutes, the charger just kicks off. It just did it. Yeah, it's showing like 2 amps. So it's not even charging. Maybe we should go see Battery Man. Maybe he can help us.
Regular preventive inspection of the electrical system will help to ensure its efficient and continuous operation.
Your operating system is at 120 volts DC, but your weakest link is your weakest battery.
Right.
So if you have one battery that's not optimally working, it just is going to affect the entire 20 batteries.
Right.
The battery man's Mike Kaiser has asked us to take all the batteries out of the truck so we can determine if there's a problem with the batteries or with the charger. Our friend Tom helps us with the heavy lifting.
You do a hydrometer check, make sure the battery is all fully charged. You do a voltage check, make sure that the proper open circuit voltage. And then you do a load test. You load test each individual battery. And if they pass all 3, the battery's sufficiently charged and good enough to use your electric vehicle.
1 week later, we return to the battery man to see how our batteries checked out.
Hey guys, how's it going? Oh, it's good. Good to see you again. Yeah.
So what's the diagnosis on the batteries there?
Well, out of the 20 that you guys brought in, 15 of them were good, and 5 of them didn't make it. And so we have 5 other replacement batteries for you, and they're about all the same age. Okay. So you're not putting new batteries with old batteries. And we're going to donate that to you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Happy to do that for you.
Yeah, I bet you're happy, Bruce.
I'm happy. Let's load him in the truck.
You realize that the batteries you're using now, the technology that goes into that battery, 1888. That's when it was devised by Edison, and it hasn't changed.
Technology is not the only thing that hasn't changed much. Mike's old-fashioned generosity and the sharing of his knowledge helps us stay on the road.
I would be checking your fluid levels at least every 2 to 3 weeks. Shallow cycling, good connections, and a good charger.
And then we'll see how
we'll
put them back in and see how it
and see
runs.
what kind of distance you get from there.
Right.
Yeah.
The new batteries, courtesy of the battery man, seem to have solved the battery pack problem. But after 6 months of driving 1,740 kilometers, we discover the truck is not getting the 50 kilometers of range per charge that it did before. It's not as efficient as we thought, and we can't figure out why. A good place to solve this mystery, the annual Miva Fest.
So if you go up here to the right, maybe.
Okay.
park right next to the Tesla.
Electric conversions parking down at the other end. Well, I tried. I guess conversions park at the other end of the line.
That's my truck right there.
Is it?
Yeah,
It's
the
electric?
white one. Yeah.
Yeah, with the solar panel.
Yeah.
Very cool. I need to take a picture of that then. You should stand by it.
All right.
Wow.
There's my power meter.
Oh.
That's so Manitoba Hydro can do a meter reading.
Yeah. The solar panels are, they charge the 12-volt battery. I have a vacuum pump here that's for my brakes.
Yeah, well,
so
that's very cool. I didn't know about that.
This is our car.
Is this your car?
Yeah.
This is a cool car.
Click, done. Click, done.
And our goal is to green every single highway in Manitoba.
The special guest at this year's MIVA Fest is Kent Rathwell. He runs a company that's building a network of sponsored EV charging stations from coast to coast.
We wanted to implement the world's longest green highway across the country. We've proven to a lot of skeptical Canadians that the impossible is actually possible. And not only is it possible, it's possible in virtually the hardest country in the world to implement in. You know, it's pretty hard to argue traveling around, not kicking out too many emissions and doing it for free.
I was hoping that I would be able to get some advice and some pointers. You know, I bought the vehicle converted.
You did?
Without any schematics, wiring diagrams, or anything.
There's a lot of knowledgeable people at MIVA Fest, like Jerry Coppolo.
How long have you had the batteries?
Jerry's impressed with the truck's price and ingenuity. But because of the lead-acid battery pack, he's not surprised that the efficiency has dropped.
Get rid of them.
Well,
just bite the bullet, get lithium, and it'll be a third the weight. Can you imagine how much faster and farther you can go?
Yeah.
Jerry's advice? Replace the lead-acid batteries with lithium.
Yeah. And what is the battery technology? Lithium iron phosphate?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
It's the same advice I get from Garth Irwin, who says using lithium will also help with our heating problem.
And then inside the cabin, I use about 3 kilowatts of electricity to keep the cabin warm. So on your daily drive to work, I get in the car and I turn on the heat and it cranks on full right away. So it's better than a gas car. You don't have to let it warm up, but it does use a little bit of electricity. So
lots of great tips at MIVA Fest, especially that info about cabin heat.
Well, the truck worked pretty good this fall, but now that it's winter time, I've now discovered there's some challenges. One of the big issues is that the heat isn't really working very well, and the fan comes on, but it blows really lukewarm.
Not only is there no heat,
there they are.
With temperatures dropping to -20, the range has plummeted dramatically to about 20 kilometers on a charge. Not having any heat, a 12 to 15 hour charge time, battery and connection issues, this truck is nowhere as maintenance-free and efficient as we'd like. What did we expect for $4,000? Maybe Jerry is right.
And there's my parking ticket.
Maybe lithium batteries are the way to go.
So it seems to drive okay.
Thankfully, it drives well enough to get us to the monthly MIVA meeting.
Now you're rebuilding that truck with the lead-acid batteries, right?
Yes, I'm running into problems with those lead-acid batteries where the terminals are breaking off.
It's a nightmare. Lead-acid is a nightmare from start to finish. Don't even touch it.
Yeah.
Don't even start with it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I've had the experience now, and so I understand the wanting something, and also I'm finding that it's just there's really not a lot of get up and go with it, and I'm not sure if that's
You'll find it's completely different now, even with the smaller amp hour cells.
Yeah.
We spend the next few months researching what it'll take to transform Electruck into a much more reliable and efficient ride.
You can see my voltmeter is reading quite low now, so I'm a little concerned. We do need to get a charge on this, so.
We limp along throughout the winter with the range between charges so low, we look for ways to constantly get the juice needed to get around.
But yeah, is anybody plugged into these outlets? Now this goes against my principles of burning fossil fuels.
Good thing we got a generator with the truck. I guess this turns it into a hybrid.
Okay, she's charging.
Not exactly what we planned for, but it gets us a few extra blocks nonetheless. Our desperate hobble through the winter continues, all the while devising a plan of attack for renovating this truck in the spring.
Still driving an electric truck.
Having never modified a vehicle, we seek out an exclusive workshop at Winnipeg's Red River College, where MIVA members have been invited to help build a prototype car in just one day.
There's a 9/16 inside there.
What's interesting is that most people here, like us, have no experience building a car.
Are you willing to give it a try?
And this guy is showing us how to accomplish that.
Folks, thanks for having me out. I'm Joe Justice, the team lead of Team WikiSpeed. We'll be working with you guys today to build a car.
Joe Justice is founder of Team WikiSpeed, a volunteer-based automobile prototyping company. Justice uses the principles of a project management method called Agile to build vehicles faster and more cost-efficiently.
Those practices let us become a finalist in the Progressive Insurance Automotive X Prize while spending less than $17,000. The spend of the other top 10 teams was $5 million per team. If our teams are ready, we need to look at our backlog.
We learn how Agile teaches small teams of people with diverse experience how to work together in what they call scrums.
Just ordinary people like myself can come and do the work. It's a new process that involves everybody.
Okay, folks, the sprint needs to begin. Who did not work last sprint that would like to work this sprint? Crowd on in.
Hey, we think there's a bit of an issue right now. We're discussing whether or not we had the brake pedal upside down.
We had it upside down.
Absolutely, even
This unscrews, and then this, and then this, and those can both be done at once, like two people working on one.
You can see everybody here is just having a good time and feeling like we're really accomplishing something.
How are we doing on the wheels? If you have your wheel all the way on, raise your hand. Keep going. Any tips you'd give, aside from the ones you've already given, for a group somewhere else in the world?
Justice shares the experience of all his builds with a growing online community.
I imagine it's something that goes back hundreds of thousands of years, but we at least have very modern evidence when communities do get together and we have what's called the treasury of the commons. Even a very small community can accomplish, it seems, very large, complex tasks that we used to rely on big government or large industry to rescue us from.
This is pretty sophisticated stuff.
Okay.
But you're networked with a whole community in order to make this happen.
That is it. It's a rolling, steering, if it had brake lines, braking, but the brake hardware is in there, ultra-light vehicle. That's what you guys accomplished today.
Witnessing a group of non-experts build a car from scratch in one day is motivating, and it shows us that anything is possible when people work together. With inspiration from Joe Justice and Team WikiSpeed, we've worked up the courage to take on this challenge, to build our own 21st century elect truck. But where are we going to do all the work?
Just under 2 3/4 inches of space right there.
Thankfully, we meet this guy, Greg Mineta, at a MIVA meeting.
Hi, Bruce.
Hey, Greg. Greg is a mechanical engineering technologist and certified auto mechanic. He also has a kick-ass shop.
I'm going to plasma cut this out and then I'm going to grind this down.
Yeah, *2.
Plasma cutter.
Bruce was looking for a place to do some work on it. Thought it would be maybe a month's worth of work for what he was describing at the time, so decided to help him out. This is the perfect scenario for disaster.
Joining us on the front line is super tech and mad scientist Brent Marginet.
What are we building here?
Frankenstein. Bruce asked me if I'd be interested in building the charger from a kit that he found online, and then of course to be involved in the build. We're talking 350 volts or more, which could be pretty dangerous.
But fun?
Yeah, but fun.
Our mission: replace the old lead-acid batteries with lithium and put them under the truck box. Install a new charger, rig up some cabin heat, and throw on a new coat of paint. Sounds simple enough, but as we quickly find, what starts out as a couple of months to do a battery upgrade turns into a much bigger task.
Turned into a restoration of a vehicle as opposed to just doing a conversion. Ball joints, tie rod ends, center link, steering box. It was manual steering, not power steering. New tires, didn't have a front stabilizer bar, new U-joints, transmission seal, speedometer gear set, differential, windshield wipers, new door seals, windshield, light bulbs, new grille, a new rear box. The lead acid batteries corroded the floor right out of the existing box.
Replacing these items now ensures the truck will last many more years, as well as making it as efficient as possible. Unfortunately, we discover that some of the parts we need are not readily available off the shelf or even on eBay or buy and sell sites.
We ended up purchasing a very good parts truck. We stripped off the doors, the hood, the box, the fenders, the bumpers, a bunch of little trim pieces. So that was a really good find because we were looking for probably about 6 to 8 months for all these individual parts, and we sort of scored it all in one big swoop.
The parts truck set us back another $1,600, but once we were finished pillaging what we needed, we sold what was left.
What would happen if we brought the negative and the positive here?
So to save a few $1,000s, we decided to keep the original motor and motor controller. To achieve the top speed, we want to operate the motor controller at the maximum voltage possible. So we would connect 45 cells in series, that is, negative to positive, negative to positive. 45 cells multiplied by 3.2 volts would give us 144 volts. Next thing we need to figure out is what capacity cells we need to get. The larger the amp hour, the more energy the batteries can store and the further we can drive on a charge. Because this is a city vehicle, it doesn't need to have an extreme range. Keep in mind in Canada that city people drive an average of 13 kilometers a day. But there are times when 100 to 150 kilometers of range would not be out of the question.
We discover for sale a variety of manufacturers and sizes of lithium cells. At an average street price of $1.30 an amp hour, 200 amp hours would get us 150 kilometers on a full charge and cost around 12 grand.
We started browsing the internet and looking for cheaper ways and better ways to do the build.
After months of searching for a better price on batteries, we discover EVTV, a very popular shop in the US, is selling 100 amp hour cells for $95 a piece. Just the deal we were waiting for.
We could buy 2 packs of cells and connect them in parallel, giving us the 200 amp hour capacity that we need for a couple $1,000s less. We also needed a 12-volt power system to power the lights, the wipers, the horn, etc. And it made sense to use the same lithium cells. 4 of them in series gave us exactly what we want.
After taking some measurements, we hope to fit 100 cells under the truck's cargo box. If we can fit 3 extra cells into each battery pack, that would give us 2 packs of 48 cells. The 3 extra cells in each pack ups the voltage to 153, which should still be safe and give us a little extra pep, as well as a range boost with almost 31 kilowatts of stored energy. We consult with Greg to see if he thinks these will fit in the space we have under the box.
Bruce had so many cells, it just wouldn't fit within the envelope that was there, so we had to design a new rear frame to accommodate the battery boxes, to accommodate all those cells. The goal of this vehicle was to be a daily driver and have it work year-round. Summertime where we could almost reach plus 40 degrees Celsius, and of course operate in minus 40 degrees Celsius. So we took the steps to design battery boxes that are insulated and heated to accommodate that.
The boxes are coming. Fellow MIVA member Martin Pepin delivers the boxes.
He's coming.
He's come to help us out.
Hey Martin, you got him.
Got him.
Our new cells have a specified operating temperature of minus 20 to plus 55 degrees Celsius, so winter should not be a problem.
Look at that, eh? That's nice.
As long as we follow one important rule. The cells must not be charged if they are below 0 degrees Celsius.
Where are you putting the phone?
To help us do that, the battery boxes and lids are double-walled, and we fill the gaps with foam insulation. The bottoms of the lids also have a thick layer of rubber that will seal tightly between the lids and the boxes, as well as keeping the tops of the batteries from shorting out if ever there was a rollover. We also purchased 3 heating mats online from a company in China. These will lay at the bottom of the box and will warm the cells if the temperature inside the box drops too low. A thin sheet of aluminum will separate the cells from the mats to dissipate the weight and the heat.
And then just use that to cool the...
Now that we've taken care of the boxes, it's time to start working on our battery pack. A battery pack is made up of individual cells. And even though each cell looks the same on the outside, on the inside, each will have a slightly different capacity. It's extremely important that when using lithium iron phosphate cells in a battery pack, never overcharge or over-discharge them, not even once. This would cause permanent damage, and if overcharged too much, can cause an extremely hot fire. So to prevent this, we need a battery management system. Battery management, or BMS, is the brains behind keeping your battery pack safe. And there's 2 ways to look at it. We either use a computer and a sensor connected across the terminals of every cell in the battery pack to control its state of charge, or we use a technique called bottom balancing and an amp-hour meter that looks at the entire battery pack as one to determine its health. After multiple discussions with MIVA members on the pros and cons of both systems, we've decided to go with the less expensive option and try bottom balancing.
To bottom balance, we want to make sure that the cells are as even as possible in amp hours when fully discharged. For bottom balancing, there's this tool that the guys use, this PowerLab 8, which costs around $300, and it will automatically do the discharging to a very precise level. Once the cells are bottom balanced, we'll take them, wire them up in the truck to make the battery pack. Then we'll charge. We're going to monitor with the JLD 404. When fully charged, Bruce will have about 200 amp hours in his battery pack. He'll drive around when the JLD 404 tells him that he has 50 amp hours left. It'll be time to charge. If Bruce does this right, he'll have the battery pack that lasts a long time.
Bruce found a battery charger kit online that went for thousands of dollars less than commercial chargers. And it was pretty impressive because for $1,400 we got 12 kilowatts of charging power. We have to spend time building the kit and testing it. Having a 12 kilowatt charger would allow us to charge the battery packs very quickly. The same company also had a kit for a charge station. The charge station allows us to charge at 120 or 220 volts and up to 70 amps.
Is it warm?
Yeah, it's really warm.
For cabin heating, we're installing 6,000 watts of ceramic heaters. These will provide instant heat and should keep us warm all winter.
120 degrees across the board there.
We made a nice acrylic enclosure to showcase all these electronics underneath the hood. We want the battery charger in there, DC to DC converter, heating circuit with solid-state relays to turn those on. Brent came up with some innovative ways of turning on the contactors. He made it so you just turn the key just like you'd start a normal vehicle.
We also purchased memberships to a local makerspace, AscentWorks. There, we can model and 3D print custom parts, as well as some out-of-production parts that were just not available anywhere.
We printed a dash panel, which turned out pretty cool. Some little rubber bumpers for the glove box door, clutch, reservoir. We printed the emblems and got them electroplated.
The MIVA community is excited about the build. They even hold one of their monthly meetings at Greg's shop.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Right on. Yep. This is what we've been doing.
People within MIVA, they've They've seen what we've been doing. Everyone was encouraging, and everyone wants to see how things are going.
One for voltage, one for current. So I'll see instantaneous the voltage and the current for each pack.
With the Manitoba EV community urging us on, we set our sights on finishing the truck and becoming the newest and greatest EV conversion in Manitoba. Ready for unveiling in a few short months at MivaFest 2015.
We were determined to make MivaFest. It was a good teamwork effort. When we got down to the last maybe 2 weeks before MivaFest, there was just everything going on. We were just exhausted.
So we've had to widen the cable passages between the boxes. We discovered that the bend radius on the cables was too tight, so we took all the batteries out, and we're now widening the passageways between the boxes.
So we're basically going to pocket this in, then cutting out the old license plate holder area.
And then we had to run conduit for all the battery cables. That was quite a job. It looks like a little bit of an octopus under there with all of our conduit. Let's start it.
Put in neutral and see if the motor spins.
Yeah, they're coming on. The contactor's on. That's the controller just at the very beginning. It goes away, and then it stops.
Congrats, guys. Good job. Beers?
With just 2 weeks left before MivaFest, it's a grueling marathon to get the truck ready. Several major tasks are still left to finish. Strip the old paint and get it over to Vic at Urban Auto Body for some body work and a new paint job.
That would be the reason why we had to do some work on them.
A little extra air conditioning.
Wire the instrument cluster and install the dash and interior parts. Rear leaf springs need to be added. We need to get the truck over to Carlson Truck Outfitters and get the box liner applied. We need to find some new wheels and tires, and she'll need an alignment. All of this takes us right down to the wire.
We were just exhausted, sort of working long days, but we made our goal of bringing it to MivaFest, so that was great. The vehicle turned out way better than I even had envisioned. It turned out great. It's a real slick-looking vehicle.
Hey, does it look a little different?
Look at that. If you didn't have you in it, I wouldn't recognize it.
It's an awesome-looking truck.
Wow. Looking a lot different than it looked last November.
The black turned out great. The rims, those just look awesome on it. And the stance and the box liners, all these little details, just it looks really, really good.
Have you seen this?
Look at this. Holy smokes, that is phenomenal.
That's great.
That is impressive.
This is minty fresh.
Oh, like you just finished it?
20 minutes. Yeah, seriously,
Okay.
it's not even finished actually.
So,
we
you
just
haven't even driven it yet?
like twice.
Because it only looked like this yesterday.
They haven't even got a ride yet.
Oh my god.
They're gonna be chromed.
Nice.
And we got E31 because it's a 31 kilowatt pack. We're gonna put these over here. And then the big elect truck will be chromed like this, and then it'll be across the tailgate.
Vic from Urban Auto Body, I've known him probably for about 20 years. Him and his crew did an awesome job. The paint job is just totally amazing. It's the icing on the cake. It's really cool. And the box liner turned out great. Vic knows David at Carlson Box Liners, and he sent us to him to get this done. We also got the bottom side of the box done as well, because we have a tilt box to showcase the batteries, because everyone wants to see the battery boxes.
And you saw our 3D printed dash modifications.
That is phenomenal.
The top left is
it's the combined packs, amp hours.
And you got 200.
And we've got 200,
Wow.
roughly 200.
Cool.
And then the top right is our 12 volt voltage.
Yep.
And then the second one down is pack A, and the other one is pack B. So you can just push this, the right arrow. That one. Yep.
Oh yeah, 158.3. Okay.
So that's pack voltage for pack A if you do the second on that one. Yep. So they're in balance.
Perfectly balanced.
What we've done could also be the catalyst for other people to do a build like we've done, and everyone benefits when you're doing something within a community. You share the ideas and find new ways of doing things.
Can you set them up to charge the 12 volt system at 12.5 volts when you're plugged in, but then when you start and run to come on to 14 volts so your headlights are brighter?
It's always at 13.6 volts.
And what are the other relays?
That'll be for our cabin heat.
You're going to be the guy answering a million questions now.
Yeah, I've learned so much.
You guys have learned a lot, and you particularly have nothing like a hands-on project.
Oh, exactly. Hey, if you're going to want to learn something, there's nothing better than just diving in with some high voltage.
With some high voltage, that's right.
I've also learned that if I didn't meet others in the MIVA community, none of this would have been possible.
Good. Nice job. Yeah, that's
Rob, how are you?
Good. Yeah, that doesn't have a tank in there anymore.
Sure, this conversion did cost more because of the restoration, and it took about 2 years to complete. But I think it was worth it. And though I'm not really driving for free, the friends I've made, the knowledge I've gained, and being part of a team that actually built a fully electric vehicle that can drive 160 kilometers and costs about $2 to fill up, I think that's pretty much priceless.
Bruce, my man!
We made it. We totally made it.
Where's
You
your
see
truck?
it? It's over there. It's over there.
An electric vehicle, it's just the way to go. There's less parts, there's less pollution, less noise. Just everything about it is a much better way of providing transportation.
Oh, okay.
EV001.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, please. Okay, let's make that happen.
Done.
Yes.
Using electricity is the most economical way we've discovered in our quest to drive cheaper and smarter. And with advances happening all the time in battery technology and in ways to harness the power, we seem to be moving towards a future where we will one day drive for free.
Push the cable, push it, slide it over.
It's about rebuilding our marriage because he's been absent for 3 years.
Awesome. 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 Oh. Awesome. 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 Awesome.
Okay, go ahead.
Whoa!
The energy is here, within this universe, on this planet. It's a challenge facing each of us in all lands, to explore, to find, to develop, and to use wisely, not wastefully, the energy that's here. If we meet this challenge, It will be for the good of all mankind on Earth.